nearly the past decade, I've basically lived a single life. I don't remember the last time I got to a location.
I'm dating right now, and there's definitely certain things that I look for, like I want to find a man who is very intentional. Kody orders Meri to delete that post. Her savage clapback goes viral. The instant that headline-sized drama ignited, Meri was still savoring the last sip of caramel swirled latte, blissfully unaware that her simple Instagram dose of self-love had detonated a virtual landmine. If there is a guy who says, "I'd be interested in getting to know you," okay? Well, then make the steps to make that happen. Her caption, thick with talk of boundaries, respect, and standing tall, had been live for barely 10 minutes when a new notification slid across her screen, vibrating like a rattlesnake in her palm. The sender, Kody, of course, and the preview line alone, "Take it down now," made her stomach flip harder than any theme park roller coaster. Sources close to the Browns allege that Kody's direct message came in hot, laced with capital letters, exclamation points, and a not-so-subtle threat about family harmony and legal repercussions. "Don't sit there and expect me to be the one to text or call you all the time. I think it's very important that he is the one who reaches out to me." Allegedly, he insisted the post painted him in a false and damaging light. Meri blinked twice, rereading the tirade, feeling a cocktail of shock and familiar frustration rise in her chest. Hadn't they each gone their separate ways? Hadn't she earned the right to speak her own truth without a patriarch's permission slip? The whole chivalry is not dead thing? That's not dead with me. Like a guy needs to make the effort. I think that's very important. The irony tasted metallic. Insiders whisper that Kody's fury was not sparked by casual scrolling. Word is, a younger Brown sibling quietly screenshotted Meri's caption the moment it landed, then rushed it to Dad, anxious to stay on his good side. Meri could almost picture the scene. Kody pacing, veins visible at the temples, phone clenched like a stress ball as he barked orders into the family group chat. Control, it seems, remains his favorite currency. Even as the marriages unravel around him, Meri caught her breath, set the latte aside, and stared at the blinking cursor, waiting for her reply. For a heartbeat, she considered silence, letting the post speak for itself. "He needs to open the door for me. He needs to pay for the date." If a guy were to say, "Yeah, let's go have on the date," it's like, okay, you're out. But then came the realization that silence had never protected her before. Something electric zipped through her fingertips. She tapped out a sharply polite, yet undeniably rebellious three-liner, peppered with a winking emoji for good measure. Ending with a screenshot of her still visible post, she hit send. According to a confidant, the air around her crackled like summer static. Almost immediately, the app's little heart icon exploded. Likes poured in by the hundreds, then the thousands as fans rallied behind what they viewed as Meri's declaration of independence. Hashtags sprouted like wildflowers. "Stand tall, Meri. Delete this knot." Comments flooded with cheers, stories of midlife reinvention, and a chorus of "We see you, sister." Meanwhile, Kody's own profile slipped into chaos. Critics hammering. Every photo with clapback diffs and long memories of one-sided family meetings. But the real firestorm was still gathering offshore. Rumor has it Meri's follower count jumped by more than 50% overnight, while Kody scrambled to craft a damage control statement that could calm a fan base already hungry for receipts. And just as dawn painted the sky peach and gold, Meri's phone buzzed once more, this time with a request for an exclusive primetime interview. He and I actually had a conversation a couple weeks ago. Okay, and he said to me, I'm still grieving the loss of our marriage. I'm grieving. And I said, "Kody, you don't get to tell me that, eh?" And he said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "No, you don't. After all of the things that you said about me on the show and in public and to the world about how you never loved me and all these very hurtful things, you don't get to tell me that you're grieving." She smiled, thumb hovering above the screen. Whatever she chose next, one thing was certain. The digital wildfire had only begun to roar. The rewind begins exactly 24 hours earlier when Meri's fingers paused over her phone keyboard. Pulse quickening with each letter of the caption that would fling her whole timeline into orbit. She had just finished a sunrise hike and, according to insiders, felt a rush of clarity that left her equal parts exhilarated and exasperated. So she crafted a layered ode to self-respect, renewed strength, and the non-negotiable right to be heard. Parade's write-up later quoted her verbatim, "A woman who knows her worth never bargains it away." The words dripped with velvet steel. And anyone who'd watched years of on-camera size knew precisely who that velvet was aimed at. Yet Meri never named him. That strategic omission gave the post razor-sharp resonance. It invited readers to fill in the blanks with their own memories of raised voices, awkward couch interviews, and tearary confessionals. Within minutes of publishing, early bird followers caught a whiff of shade and went scrambling for popcorn. Soap opera Spy captured the energy perfectly, noting how Meri's talk of love standards and modern chivalry doubled as a mirror held up to Kody's often lopsided idea of partnership. Fans older than 50 flooded the comments with heart emojis spelled out in words, cheering the message as if it were their own private manifesto. One longtime viewer typed, "You just preached the sermon my pastor never dared deliver." That single line racked up thousands of likes overnight, turning Meri's feed into an impromptu support group for women who had outgrown their silencer.
I thought it was acceptable. I thought I could make up the difference. I thought everything in this situation with all three wives.
Yet the true volatility lay in the subtext. Digital sleuths zoomed into a photo of Meri's coffee mug, spotting the phrase, "Boundaries are beautiful," etched across the ceramic in bold cursive. Rumor has it that same mug appeared on her kitchen counter during a tense episode filmed last autumn, right after a behind-the-scenes blow-up about shared finances. Fans connected dots with lightning speed. Threads formed on every platform dissecting the symbolism, linking it to whispers that Kody had once insisted Meri lower her guard to save the family image. "I don't want to pursue another woman because I don't want that headache. The questions, the struggles, the wonder about trust. I'm not in that space." In this context, the mug read like a middle finger handshake, polite on the surface, defiant in the grip. Meanwhile, eagle-eyed viewers noticed the post caption included a sly PS screenshot before it vanishes. Friends? Some saw it as playful bravado. Others sensed Meri knew deletion demands were inevitable. Either way, the invitation galvanized her audience. Screenshots multiplied faster than a tabloid headline hits a checkout stand, guaranteeing permanence, before any patriarchal eraser could swipe. Deep inside the comment scroll, a curious handle allegedly belonging to a brown offspring simply typed, "Yikes." That single syllable would soon carry more weight than anyone guessed, because sometime between that yikes and Kody's fiery direct message, the post left Meri's circle of trust and landed in his. Insiders now murmured that a certain sibling did more than gasp. They reportedly hit share, instant messaged their father, and set the whole confrontation in motion. Who was the silent messenger? And why choose loyalty to Kody over solidarity with Meri's newfound voice? Those answers, dear friend, are where the story starts to burn even hotter. Rumor has it that the spark behind Kody's sudden rage carried the sweet scent of sibling rivalry. Insiders whisper it was a younger brown daughter, one who, according to Family Watch accounts, has always been achingly torn between pleasing dad and cheering on the estranged moms, who snapped a lightning-fast screenshot of Meri's boundaries. Post slapped it into a private chat and typed a breathless, "Thought you should see this." She is said to have felt a shiver of regret the moment the image ticked blue in Kody's inbox, because every veteran brown kid knows what happens when their father feels blindsided. Sources allege Kody's reply in that chat arrived at warp speed. A short, blistering paragraph in all caps demanding to know whether the post was recent, whether anyone else had shared it. and whether the TV network might already be aware. At the bottom came a tour order. No one talked to Meri until I handled this. Family, silence. Kody's favorite disciplinary trick was now officially in play. What followed, say, two people close to the production crew, resembled a scene from an old-school Western saloon just before the bar stools start flying. Kody allegedly paced the flagstone floor of his Arizona living room, phone glued to his ear, cycling through calls to Robin, to the show's fixer, to a lawyer friend rumored to be on retainer for moments exactly like this. Every burst of frustration ping-ponged across the group chat. He typed rapid-fire commands, screenshots of Meri's caption, and an ultimatum that any family member still liking or commenting on the offending post would face serious consequences. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Financially, I have nothing. Christine had the house. I have nothing and I can't do anything. I'm stuck. I can't believe I got myself into this position. How dumb was that? I know better. The subtext, fans might say, sounded painfully familiar. Loyalty is a one-way street paved by Kody. Meanwhile, a younger sibling who lit the match reportedly hovered at her screen. Watching the red-hot thread scroll by, heart pounding at the realization she had delivered a Trojan horse that could trample Meri's hard-won peace. Yet somewhere under that storm of exclamation point fury, something in Kody's power stance began to wobble. For the first time in recent memory, the patriarch's signature control tactics met a 2025 social media ecosystem that no longer kneels at the foot of a single gatekeeper. By nightfall, tiny heart-shaped ripples had turned into digital tsunamis. Meri's empowerment mantra was already plastered across fan pages, late-night gossip podcasts, and even a trending hashtag spelled out. Mind you, as hashtag #StanTalMeri, too vast for any private decree to erase. Word spread that Kody, desperate to regain narrative ground, summoned all adult children to a mandatory video conference next morning at 9 o'clock sharp. According to one crew member, he warned that legal options were on the table if Meri kept up her defamatory antics. But just before he hit send on the meeting link, another notification flashed. Meri had posted again, this time with a cryptic sunflower emoji and the words, "Beginnings are beautiful." The family group chat went eerily silent, and somewhere on Meri's side of town, her phone started buzzing with an entirely different call. One that promised to pry Kody's fingers off the steering wheel for good. The question is, will she answer? When we all first started, there was kind of like this thing. We weighed in on what bills should be paid, how we were going to pay, who got priority. And then the last several years, Kody would just take out funds and I don't know what for. And the money was just being spent, and lots of it. Meri's response when it finally poured through the ether was equal parts velvet dagger and mic drop manifesto. According to insiders who saw the exchange in real time, she did not backpedal or edit a single syllable. Instead, she fired off 3 rapid messages, each a precise little arrow aimed at the center of Kody's authority. The first thanked him for taking such a keen interest in my personal growth. The second offered an icy reminder that respect is a two-way street. Darling, begging. For silence is not the same thing as earning it. And the third, a full screenshot of her still live post, complete with a fresh wave of likes cresting in the lower corner. She capped that screenshot with a wink emoji spelled out in the caption line, WK, and pressed send. Allies alleged the typing bubble on Kody's end stalled, vanished, then returned. But no further words arrived. Silence. The very weapon he had tried to wield against her now cut both ways. Within minutes, Meri's phone began lighting up like a 4th of July sky. Followers multiplied at warp speed. Analytics firms estimate her count jumped by nearly 50% in 12 hours. A leap rare, even for viral reality stars. Every new name seemed to arrive bearing a digital bouquet, heart-shaped spellouts, sunflower chains flooding the comments, A chorus of midlife women applauding Meri for saying what they had only whispered to bathroom mirrors. Hashtags ballooned into full sentences. Hashtag boundaries are beautiful, and hashtag D, this not thick enough to swamp Kody's preferred narrative. Overnight. Gossip blogs embedded Meri's screenshot as proof of the clapback that shook the Brown Kingdom, and podcasters dissected each italicized phrase. The way some years swirl an expensive Cabernet. Meanwhile, Kody's Instagram turned into a battleground of clashing loyalties. Older posts once filled with supportive emojis now bristled with politely furious paragraphs. Practice what you preach. Let your wives speak. Respect is earned. Word count warriors typed out entire Bible verses on healthy love, and one commenter styling herself a desert auntie wrote that Kody's caps lock tirade would scare off even the Scorpions in Flagstaff. The line went viral faster than a tumbleweed. In a dust storm, even getting read aloud on a late-night FM call-in show devoted to sister wives gossip. By then, Meri's team, yes, sources claim she quietly assembled one, fielding interview requests from morning shows and women's magazines, hungry to crown her the new patron saint of personal reinvention after 50. Yet, beneath the applause lurked a ripple of unease. Insiders whisper that TLC executives, startled by the unscripted fireworks, convened an emergency Zoom to debate whether the escalating feud might force a production pivot. If Meri's Independence tour kept trending, they worried she could strongarm the network into airing more of the skeletons rattling around Kody's financial closet. And just before midnight, Meri posted a single cryptic line to her Instagram story. Truth ages well, even under pressure. White text on a black screen. Number. Tags. No location. Fans raced to decode it, theorizing she might have receipts ready to drop. Seconds later, a grainy image leaked on a subreddit allegedly showing a line item payment from a Brown Family LLC to an unknown private account. The image was blurry, the figures fuzzy, but the fandom smelled smoke. If the next daylight brought proof of fire, this tiff could explode into a full-scale money scandal, and Kody knew it. The only question now was whether he could douse the flames before sunrise, or whether Meri's roaring momentum would torch the walls he built long ago. By breakfast time the next day, Meri's sunflower-soaked rally had blossomed into a full-blown media garden, and every bee with a microphone swooped in for nectar. Soap opera spy unfurled a banner, labeling her freshly minted Love Standard sermon a masterclass in midlife reinvention, while pointedly noting that chivalry and Meri's book should never arrive, stapled to a silence clause. Syndicated radio hosts recited chunks of her caption as though reading slam poetry, stretching each pause for maximum sting. Newspaper columnists invoked Nora Ephron, calling the post an essay in Velvet Rebellion. Meanwhile, the fandom built citadels of solidarity overnight. Facebook quilting circles abruptly swapped fabric tips for side-by-side gifs of Meri's confident wink and Kody's rumored text rage. Slapping across them hash spelled out in capitals, hash boundaries are beautiful, hashtag D. This not each longer than a pharmacy receipt. TikTok creators past 50. Yes, they thrive in glorious numbers. Produced storytime clips reenacting the showdown with porcelain teacups as stand-ins for cell phones. Every skit ending in a triumphant lip-sync chorus of respect is earned. One lifestyle blogger even stitched the entire episode into a crochet pattern she titled the Freedom Square, promising to donate proceeds to women's shelters. Mainstream outlets pounced as well. A Los Angeles morning show booked a psychologist to analyze why late-in-life boundary setting rattles controlling partners. The expert disclaiming any direct tie to the Browns deemed Meri's caption a textbook declaration of autonomy. Rumor has it glossy magazines dangled 6F figureur photo spreads and promises of editorial control. Hoping to crown Meri the patron saint of starting over after 50, all this wind howled straight into Kody's ears. Friends alleged he doom-scrolled. Every headline with a tense focus of a man watching stock prices plummet. By noon, he greenlit a Torah double-space statement through a long time. Publicists insisting that private family matters shall remain private. The phrasing so formal it felt embalmed, drew immediate mockery. One commentator quipped, "It read like a telegram from 1942. Yet, the sharper sting arrived moments later when eagle-eyed fans discovered an older post on Kody's page where he had once waxed lyrical about mutual respect had quietly vanished without explanation. Screenshots of the disappearance ricocheted across social feeds, fueling fresh speculation that Kody was frantically scrubbing his past before Meri's next move. And just as the sun tipped high, a barely legible bank transfer screenshot surfaced. On a dedicated sister-wife subreddit, allegedly linking a family limited liability company to an unmarked account. Fuzzy or not, the fandom smelled smoke and started chanting for proof. If Meri possessed the receipts everyone now craved. Her next tap of the publish button could turn Kody's polite statement into a smoldering pile of ash. Over the years, Kody's version of family fairness has often meant making unilateral edicts with little warning. And fans have long sensed the echo of my way or the highway in his every move. Rumor has it that he once quietly changed banking passwords after Meri split, locking her out of accounts she'd shared for decades. While that nugget remains unverified, the pattern of financial gatekeeping is anything but new. Every time a family expense popped up, Kody controlled the checkbook's fate, and no one dared question his ledger. Janelle has been the most vocal counterpoint to that script. In a recent 4-part one-on-one special, she told Sukana Krishnan that Kody makes himself even more villainous to protect Robyn from accusations. She broke up the family. She pointed directly to his habit of rewriting scenarios, retelling their story so often that the original narrative disappeared in the retelling just to shield Robyn from blame. The Ashley's Roundup.com. For anyone watching, it raised the question, whose truth is he really defending? That same control extended into grander dreams too. Enos reminded viewers how Kody once floated scrapping the family's 14-acre Coyote Pass property altogether, despite the fact they'd only just paid off the $820,000 mortgage 2 years earlier. He told Robyn he'd rather start fresh somewhere else. A statement Janelle likened to tossing out a shared blueprint without so much as a courtesy consult. EONLINE.com asking, "New beginnings sounded positive until the bulldozers moved in." Fans remember when Janelle quietly fought back using her growing social media platform to expose what she called a private family rulebook, crowding out any real partnership. She highlighted moments when Kody demanded absolute loyalty, branding any dissent, disrespect, or betrayal. That public push back carved out space for Meri's own empowerment post, and it hardwired Kody's reflex to squelch a rising female voice. Christine, too, has shared hints in her memoir teasers that Kody authored clauses about who could speak and when, policing even minor decisions under the guise of keeping the peace. Sources say production crew members once found family members scrambling to delete footage of Christine's exit interview, believing it might undermine the carefully staged plural harmony behind every angry emoji and trending hashtag lies decades of Kody's authorial pen over the family narrative. He's written family meetings, controlled airtime, and even dabbled in legal advisories to keep unflattering tales off season recaps. But in a digital age that thrives on screenshots and share buttons, the old playbook is cracking at the spine. And just when it seemed Kody's tightening grip might regain purchase, Meri's explosive clapback rewrote the rules. Now, the question echoing through Brown country is not how he'll reassert control, but whether any playbook can outlast an empowered woman armed with her phone and an audience that refuses to blink. The deeper they dig, the darker it gets. Sources whisper that when Meri unleashed her boundary manifesto, she didn't stand alone, at least not entirely. Rumor has it Janelle, ever the trailblazer of truthling, quietly tapped the little heart. on Meri's story. A tiny but loud signal of sisterly support that, might seem minor. But in Brown country, it carries the weight of a rallying cry. Janelle's own history of calling out Kody's power plays. Like when she exposed secret bank log shifts on national TV, cements her reputation as the family's conscience. Fans connect the dots. Janelle's heart icon speaks solidarity? Maybe Meri's. Not so isolated after all. Then there's Christine, whose memoir teasers hinted at long-suppressed frustrations over Kody's peacekeeping tactics. Insiders claim she double-tapped Meri's sunflower emoji post, a move so subtle it could slip under any radar unless you know where to look. Christine's digital nod matters because her platform skews toward women 50+. It's the very audience soaking up Meri's message as personal empowerment gospel. Christine isn't shouting from the rooftops, but whispers travel fast. In a clan where public dissent often equals exile, a quiet lie can feel revolutionary. And for viewers who've watched Christine weather her own share of group chat mutinies, this gesture reads like a secret handshake among the disillusioned. Robin, by contrast, remains characteristically mute. Her silence, no likes, no comments, no story repost has fueled divide and conquer chatter among the fandom. Some speculate she's playing the long game, waiting for Kody's instruction before weighing in. Others wonder if she's too wary of drawing more heat given her recent shell. Shocked posture after Janelle's financial revelations. Either way, her absence speaks volumes. And that volume is sounding suspiciously like complicity in whatever narrative Kody pitches next. Amid these digital breadcrumbs, an unverified tip suggests Meri and Janelle slipped away for a private brunch at a nondescript Scottsdale cafe. No cameras, no stylists, just two women armed with lattes and truth bombs. What they might have plotted behind those tinted windows is pure speculation. But insiders allege the meeting lasted well over 90 minutes. Ending with secret smiles and perhaps a pact no brown sister goes silent again. If that clandestine powwow is real, it could reshape the family dynamic in ways Kody never saw coming. And that, dear friend, brings us to the looming question. Will this sisterly alliance hold? Or will Kody's next move fracture it before it even solidifies? Because in a war fought on group chats and timelines, unity is the ultimate weapon. And if Meri and Janelle truly stand shoulder to shoulder, the battlefield may shift in ways we've begging to imagine. Beyond the desert dust and family group chats, Meri's saga has ignited a broader cultural flashpoint. Women in their 50s reclaiming voices long muted by expectation and etiquette. Insiders whisper that her simple declaration, chivalry, is not dead in my book, struck a chord far beyond brown country, morphing into a rallying cry for anyone who's been told to keep it quiet once life has passed the halfway mark. Soap opera. Spy.com. Suddenly, it wasn't just reality TV fans clutching their pearls. Life coaches, book clubs, workplace diversity trainers started circulating her post as a masterclass in boundary setting. Rumor has it that Meri's words flew through LinkedIn feeds and women's networking groups, prompting frank hallway conversations on respect, autonomy, and the art of asking for what you deserve. On a popular syndicated morning show, a clinical psychologist introduced only as Dr. Crane offered a primer on why asserting personal standards after decades of caretaking can reset one's entire sense of self. She explained that when women in midlife articulate clear boundaries, it not only reduces anxiety, but can revive dormant ambitions. No official connection to the Browns was claimed, but the timing was impossible to ignore. Sources claimed that producers clipped bits of her commentary to weave into teasers for upcoming segments, billing it as the boundary talk every matriarch need. As Meri's sunflower emoji story rippled through the digital ether, experts penned think pieces on Medium sites, arguing that her post exemplifies a seismic shift in how women over 50 harness social media for empowerment. Instead of merely scrolling, meanwhile, the hashtag boundaries are beautiful, bloomed into a fully fledged movement. Quilting bees in Midwestern living rooms swapped crochet patterns for discussion prompts about emotional labor. Two well-known podcasters filmed remote episodes dissecting the phrasing of Meri's caption line by line, treating it like political speech. One career coach on YouTube even dedicated an entire tutorial to crafting your own post-Meri manifesto, guiding viewers on tone, imagery, and the strategic value of a well-timed wink emoji. Across platforms, the consensus was clear. Meri had engineered a viral blueprint for women craving both grace and grit. And now, a tantalizing new twist. Word is that a top morning show host has reached out for an exclusive sit-down with Meri. Brown promising to go beyond the family feud and explore the full story behind this self-respect sermon. Will Meri seize the spotlight and deliver more of the receipts fans are clamoring for? Or will she maintain her mystery, holding back until the stakes grow even higher? The cameras are ready, the questions are queued, and the next move could reshape not just one reality star's narrative, but a generation's approach to speaking up. But beneath Meri's sunflower-soaked rebellion, another fire began to burn. Money. Rumor has it that Kody's greatest fear isn't a clapback or a missing post. It's exposure of every dollar he's ever funneled through the Brown family coffers. Late last night, an unverified screenshot surfaced on a dedicated sister-wife subreddit. ALLEGEDLY showing a $250,000 transfer from Coyote Pass Ventures LLC to an offshore account labeled simply M, the image, though grainy, carried the stench of buried financial skeletons no network edit could ever scrub away. Insiders whisper that Kody has long operated behind a fortress of shell corporations and private ledgers, doing out cash with all the transparency of a smoke and mirrors magician. Sources allege that after Meri split from the pack, he quietly changed account passwords and reclassified major expenses under Robin's name. Moves fans later pieced together from redacted tax filings and thank you cards spotted in Janelle's Instagram stories. Now, with Meri's audience swelling by the thousands, every follower feels like a potential detective armed with screenshots and subpoenas. If she ever chose to publish a document dump, it would look less like a feud and more like a federal audit. Janelle's 4-part special on betrayal had already pulled back the curtain on a $30,000 group investment that appeared to fund Robin's lavish home decor spree. Christine's memoir teasers hint at clauses in their original marriage contracts that dictated who could access joint bank statements. Meri's sphere of influence means those once hidden clauses could be dragged into the daylight, and every click, every double tap could serve as evidence in a public reckoning. In this context, her truth ages well. Instagram's story reads like a warning shot. She knows where the bodies and the receipts are buried. As fans marvel over boundary setting, digital sleuths have begun trading theories about Kody's next move. Will he unleash a legal cease and desist to muzzle Meri? Will he flood her demise with guilt-laden pleas about family unity while his legal team scrambles to draft non-disclosure agreements? Or might he double down, issuing a formal statement that all Brown family finances remain private even as the hashtags follow the money and expose the fund's trend across Twitter feeds? The more he tries to steer the narrative, the brighter Meri's spotlight shines on the fine print he hoped never to share. And here's where the stakes shoot skyward. If Meri drops those documents, she could obliterate the myth of Kody's benevolent patriarch. But publishing unredacted financial records risks legal entanglements, contract breaches, and a backlash that could fracture the sister-wife solidarity she's fought so hard to build. What happens when a six-figure cash trail goes public? Will viewers rally behind Meri's expose? Or will they recoil at the prospect of real-world fallout? The answer could reshape every family meeting, every group chat, every brand partnership. And trust me, the next move will be explosive. Now, the desert winds are whispering the ultimate showdown. Will Meri finally unleash those dusty financial documents, Or will she keep her cards and receipts close to her chest a little longer? Rumor has it she's weighing the risks of a full-on document dump. Knowing a public ledger could turn Kody's quietly controlled empire into a bomb of evidence. So bright it blinds any spin doctors. Yet insiders allege she also understands the power of anticipation. By holding off, she keeps everyone on edge, convinced that the next click could pop the lid on a potential 6-figure cash trail. Either way, the stakes have never been higher, and every follower now feels like a juror in waiting. Behind the scenes, sources claim Kody's legal team is drafting cease and desist letters as we speak, primed to muzzle Meri under the guise of protecting private family matters. His move would be textbook exposed patriarch energy, threaten the messenger until her megaphone goes silent. But in a digital age where subpoenas can't unring viral bells, any such legal salvo might only fuel more outrage and more screenshots destined for late-night recaps. And don't forget the Sister Wives Alliance. Janelle or Christine steps up with corroborating evidence that rumored brunch pact could become the most powerful wild card of all. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion is already in session. Fans, over 50, aren't just watching. They're organizing online meets to share every newly surfaced screenshot, every cryptic emoji from Meri's feed. They want to know if the M on that offshore transfer truly stands for Meri's initials, or if it's an alias hiding a bigger secret. They debate whether Meri should publish redacted records to protect innocence, or go full transparency, risking backlash and legal fallout. Each theory threads deeper tension into this high-stakes tapestry, turning social media into an amphitheater where every like, every comment feels like a gavel strike. So, what do you think? Will Meri Brown hit publish on those bombshell documents and rewrite the Brown family ledger forever? And can Kody's legal threats actually stop the momentum she's built? Or will they only fan the flames of a scandal he can't contain? Let me know your take in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all the latest twists. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.